before I pass this on to Sonia, I would like to talk about action. And you know, the whole world is. When I saw this picture, I thought it was very interesting, and I choose that for Sonia today. It says the whole world is short-staffed. Be kind to those that showed up. You know, when I think about people like Sonia, the first word that comes to mind is really action. Because this lady, believe me, she is like a dynamo. She is. Whoever volunteers for her knows that for fact. I mean, I do know that very well. When she puts something in her mind, there is only one outcome. It will be done, no doubt. So when I saw someone posted that photo on Facebook, I immediately thought of Sonia and so many others who works on initiatives like hers. Despite of all lack of support, despite of all the struggles, despite of all criticism that sometimes they face, but people like Sonia are really unstoppable. And why? Well, because they are driven by this force called love and a tremendous faith on what they are doing. They really believe that what they are doing is good, is useful, it has a huge benefit to humanity, and they have no other expectations but to make sure their duty is done. As such, folks, let's do our parts. Let's start expressing our love, our faith, and charity in action. And let me put this image in your mind. Life is like an engine full of bolts and nuts and wheels. But, you know, this engine does not move by itself. The engine does not move alone. It needs our will to move. Without our will, this engine will corrode badly and go nowhere. So, however, with our strong will, this engine will move endlessly and never corrode and take us to places that we cannot even imagine. So let's try this, you know, let's do our part. Let's start expressing our love, and let's do our part. Today, our lecturer evidently is Sonia Rinaldi. Sonia Rinaldi, she holds a master's degree and PhD in sciences of religion. She graduated from Universidade Católica in São Paulo, and she is a co-founder and director of IPACI Research Center. IPACI is a Portuguese acronym for Institute of Advanced Research on Instrumental Transcommunication, ITC. She's an international speaker. She has, you know, been in numerous events in US, Europe, and she also participates in events in Australia. Recently, she was one of the speakers for the Center for Consciousness Studies. For those who doesn't know what that is, this event happens every year in US or in any other part of the world. They kind of do every other year in US and then elsewhere. And they normally have the presence of speakers of high caliber, such as Dean Brady, Emmett Goswami, and others. So Sonia is an author of 17 books. She has worked on research in ITC for over 30 years now, getting the best results in the world, both in trans images and voice recordings. She has published over 100 e-mags, and that's what she called for her magazines in electronic version. And with her amazing experience and expertise, she developed new technologies to record extracorporeal consciousness. She is a pioneer in using computer to record trans contacts and introduced new devices and tools to the experiences with transcommunication, such as telephone, cell phone, Skype, and so many other materials, bubble plastics, you name it. The list is really long. She's very creative, and her intuition about what things she needs to be using in her experiences is amazing. So evidently her dedication, effort, and results, mostly results, were not unnoticed. And for that, she has been internationally recognized for 3 times now, being one of them for innovation in one of the event for Array Afterlife Research and Education Institute. With that, I'm gonna pass the ball to Sonia Rinaldi, but I'd like to also make a comment here because there will be an upcoming documentary talking about her, and Robert Lyon just spent about 2 weeks with her, recording all her laboratory, her researches, doing new researches, new experiences. So we'll be very excited to know what he prepared for her.
Hi, everyone. My internet followed down already 3 times. So we'll be talking about an overview on instrumental transcommunication research and recent advancements. So first of all, transcommunication, what it is. If anyone still doesn't know, what I doubt, it is the communication with the other side, with other dimensions through electronic devices. Which type of electronic device? Those that we have at home. Telephone, cell phone, cameras, notebooks, computer mainly today, and much in special, the cell phone nearly is able to do nearly everything that we need. How is this possible? We have to think that whenever we die, we are taken to astral cities. There are hundreds, thousands astral cities all around the world. And in there, life goes on very similar to what we do here. And we have the same aspirations, the same projects. We go on our life. It is more or less established in this site here. So it is very natural that inventors, scientists, physicists, engineers, when they are in the other side, after they die, it is very natural that they are interested in going on in their previous tasks. And they will try to go on inventing things for the benefit of mankind. So that is how we know, and we are linked to some transmission stations. The first one that we heard was the Central Station, which is over Europe. Then we heard of the South America, and then North Station over North America. And more recently, we knew that in Asia, it's a very incredible new station, which is already working. We had the opportunity to record with them. So they are incredible work already. What is very natural, because Asian people, I think, has a special trend for maths and all these hard sciences. So their station will be exploding. So the results of instrumental transcommunication can be either in or in voices, but inside each of these areas, these segments, many things can happen. For instance, inside the segment of transimages, we can have apparitions, transfigurations, apports, technical materialization, direct transference of digital files, etc. And in the area of voices, we also have a variety of possibilities, such as the communication with unborns, the communication with the deceased ones, with healthy living, with living in vegetative states, brain damage, etc. So there is a big area inside each segment that we can deal with. So I'll show you some cases of apparitions for you to understand better what this means. Let's start with the case Ford. This young boy passed at the age of 15, but for our surprise, he appeared as this little boy. So when I sent this image to his mother, she sent me a picture of Bradford when he was about 5 years old. And he was very similar. So then we have another case. This little boy appeared and we had no idea who he was. So I started calling him as the Blue Boy. And the blue boy was an unknown for us. It published in our magazines and spread. And Elisa promptly sent to me the photo of Matthew as when he was a child, because in truth, Matthew passed at the age. So probably he appeared as a little boy. Now we can see the moment when this boy appeared. I was projecting static inside the plastic egg, and I had to freeze the video. We cannot see well because obviously it is just some few frames and it is very quick, but you can see that he moves the eyes, he smiles. Now we can see the teeth. You see that he changes in front of the camera. So that was Elisa's boy. That appeared in truth in other opportunities, but this one was one of the first. Here we have Melissa. I saw that Patricia is already with us today. And Patricia is a personal friend of mine. And her daughter, Melissa, passed. And due to a heart condition. And again, we see Melissa as a little girl. And Melissa appeared many, many times. And this was just one of the times. And see that Melissa is very to the transimage in this age that Patricia sent later this photo. This is Amber. Amber is Lisa's daughter, and Lisa is my right arm in US. I'm very thankful for all the work and all the support that Lisa gives to me. And daughter passed at the age of 25 years old, But many times Amber appeared as a little girl of different ages, as here, for instance. I think that Nicia is also with us today. I didn't see, but possibly she is. She is the mother of Bia. Bia passed at the age of, but again, observe that she appeared as a little child. And then Nicia sent me this beautiful photo of Bia when she was just a little girl. Nicia is also a great helper. She's my volunteer. She makes the translations into Portuguese of so the Brazilian friends can read thanks to Nicia. This is one apparition of Loli's son, Fernando. Fernando seems younger than the age he passed. And here we have Benny. He is Maria's son. It's very curious because it is very rare that the deceased one appears with the glasses. But I think that it was just a hint for the mother to be sure that, in fact, that was her son, Benny. Here we have another case of apparition. We have Richard from Florida in front of the camera, and this guy, he looks a bit like Michael Jackson, but maybe he is, maybe he is not. And observe that Richard is just inside the yellow circle. So this boy, whoever he is, Michael Jackson or appeared in the cloth that Richard was holding in front of the camera in one workshop that I was in Orlando. Now let's see another technology, shaping vapor. This was one of my discoveries, and obviously it happened as a casualty. It was a very hot day here, and I turned on my humidifier, and casually it was recording. And obviously I shouldn't not even see the recording, but all of a sudden there were images over the vapor. And so I said, wow, maybe this is a kind of resource that they can work over. So I started using vapor as a resource for my experiments. So some results that I recorded in the workshop in Orlando, where there were 40 attendees. There were 4 groups of 10 attendees in each group. So all these recordings happened in front of other attendees. So all this was witnessed, besides obviously being in our magazines as well. This is Stefania from Florida, and she was sat down in front of the camera and observed first that she herself is very different in the recording. She looks like, which is very common to appear in our transimages because they make part of the team that works in the other side. And over Stefania's head, you can perceive that the vapor that was spread in the air, because she was holding in her hand some little vapor. I couldn't take with fire, and till we thought of buying one in the city, but it was expensive. So we used what I took from Brazil, which was very small humidifier, and Stefania had them in her lap so that the vapor was flowing up. And you see that over her head, the other side could manipulate and create. Still with Stefania, notes that she changed it completely And she became another lady at left, we can see. And over the vapor, they created another image. For you to have an idea, we have a chair here. It has right side, so that you can have an idea of the size of the transimage that was created in real time during the workshop. This is Graham from Thailand, and also in the same workshop. And this boy, or a spirit or whatever, just aside Graham. I see that Lollis is here too. And yeah, Lollis was together with us there. Now we have another lady that participated of that same workshop, Diana from California. And again, she was with the vapor on her lap, and another big image was created in the vapor, which we have the impression that has volume. It is something like 3D above her head. And some other images again behind Diana, because it was something flowing. And so with each participant, we had many, many apparitions. In the workshop, a very huge face, and with in Florida, this boy in the original transimage, when we see, we can perceive the details of the hair and the eyes. So it is amazing that they can produce something like such a perfect image. And this was from Stephen from UK, also in Florida. And he is holding a transparent cloth, which is another technique that sometimes I use. And I was teaching them to use if they wanted to record themselves. And then with the vapor and a transparent cloth. And then we have this very big face. Not only where appeared these images, but in some we could identify some persons, some loved ones. Let's see some cases. For instance, Lily from Illinois was at the same workshop, and aside her appeared this boy. And when she returned home, when she saw the recording, she perceived that this boy could be her deceased fiancé, Frankie. And indeed, it looks like Frankie. So it was created over the vapor in real time and witnessed by lots of people. Champlain, everybody knows her. She is from Boston. And aside Sandra's face, there appeared this baby. And when we spread the transimage, because this little girl was unknown for all of us, Olivia, her daughter Kira. So she sent the photo after we spread to all our lists. This is another case of identification. Behind Emily from Florida, big girl appeared, and she was identified as Lily by her mother. And here the mother sent all the images for us to compare. This is an apparition workshop. This was here in my lab. And it was the apparition of Johnny. Johnny is Joseph's brother from New York and a personal friend of mine. And he appeared from nothing I was surprised, and Joseph as well. In some cases of transfigurations, which is the difference between apparitions and transfigurations. Apparitions are when you have nothing and simply the transimage appear from nowhere, from nothing. So it just appears. And a transfiguration is when we have either a person through Zoom or live or a photo, whatever, and this image will be changed into another person. Let's see some examples. For instance, when I was recording in Orlando, we had there with us, with his Asian traces, and he was sat down in front of the camera, and from nowhere, his face started changing into other persons, such as this girl, blonde girl, clear eyes, but she was never recognized. But he is still changed into Lily Buggy. Here is Daniela's daughter. And that was Brandon. So it is amazing that I can change the face of someone. In this case, Brandon was live in the room with us, and we were recording his face. So his face was changed into these girls. And again, another change, and young girl was recognized as being Brittany, who is Susan's daughter. Here you are for comparing with the transimagery. And you see that definitively Brandon changed it into Brittany. Here is also from the same workshop. This is Bill from Louisiana. And in spite of that, he lost his daughter, but his mother also appeared in a beautiful transimage. And this is Mrs. Berta, for Bill's surprise. This was a particular case that I love it because we had Michelle from Florida in the same workshop, and she brought my mother. Observe that when I saw this transimage, I contacted Michelle to verify if casually she was using lipstick, because in the transimage she appeared with a very clear lipstick and dark hair, and she confirmed to me that she was not using lipstick, she was not using anything. So you see that Michelle's face became my mother, and possibly my mother is at the age of 84. She is much younger and renewed, as we expect that she is. Also, Emily from Florida became Amber in a beautiful transfiguration. Amber is Lisa's daughter. Patricia, our special friend that is watching us today, with her in front of the camera, she was in the workshop. And this photo at left is precisely as Patricia today. And she was in front of the camera, and she became this little girl that was later identified as being Kathleen, who is Maureen's daughter. Still with Patricia, she also became that she herself identified as being her mother when she was much younger. But in truth, we were recording Patricia. surprise for Patricia was the apparition of her dog Lisa. So this transimaging in the middle is Patricia being transfigured into her daughter. Observe the hair, curly hair, precisely as Melissa had. Sometimes the other side takes the opportunity of the transimages to send special signs. And this was the case, for instance, of Fernando, Loli's son. Fernando is from Mexico, so is Lolis, of course. And this was very curious because this boy appeared, this one at left, and it reminded me of Fernando, but I thought, but Fernando was very young. He was 17 years old when he passed. So he wasn't using such a mustache. Even and she promptly sent this picture of her son in a corn plantation where he using, obviously joking, this mustache. So it was something like a reference, a hint for the mother to recognize. Other transimage of Caleb also seems to bring a hint because he has the lip changed, just as in one photo that April, the mother, had. And this is the most beautiful apparitions we ever had. I know that Belinda is with us today, in spite that she was in the bed, because she's from Australia and she is just starting the day today. So Belinda was quite surprised with the many transimages. Sam. And Sam was really amazing. Not only this image at the right is so perfect, it seems like if we took a boy to the professional studio for making a photo, and there he is. One thing very important, of all these people that I mentioned, others, including others, obviously Belinda, I had just one photo. Because when people asked me to make a recording, obviously that I ask for them to send one photo, just one. I don't want more. It's just for me as a reference. And so this the photo that Belinda sent, and observe that there is absolutely nothing to do with the transimage. He passed at the age of 27, drawn in the swimming pool at home. So he was already nearly a man and not this little boy. So it was, and all this full case will appear in our magazine 23, which will still be launched in some weeks, but we are still already working on this magazine. And there are many other transimages in which Sam appeared, which are absolutely different ages. So this is another possibility that our spirit friends are testing of something like a travel time in the life of the loved ones. Now let's see about voices. And let's listen to some cases. This is from my friend Lisa. This is from Amber. In this day, I was testing a new device. I don't remember what, but I remember that for the girls to speak, it could be difficult because we are testing for the first time. So I decided to ask for Nicola Tella, who is our is the boss of the bosses. I asked him if he had messages of some boys and some girls. In this case, I asked it, remember with you And then Tesla, on behalf of Amber, he says, as in Sunday, waiting father, father and mother. Let's listen first and then we'll understand what the meaning of this, okay? So let me play it. So I first ask, is Amber with you? And then he says this thing about Sunday. So, is Amber with you?
Waiting father, father and mother. As it is not like waiting father, father and mother. As it is not like waiting father, father and mother.
Obviously, that after I received this trans contact related to, I sent it to, no, I sent it to Lisa, who is somewhere here in among the participants today, and she will explain it to us what was this about. Okay, so in Lisa's
so when Sonia first told me that she had received a voice message from her, I was able to hear what she had to say, but I was so confused. I looked at it, waiting Sunday, father, father, and mother, and it meant nothing to me. Nothing at all. I was thinking, you know, all the time when my kids were little, their dad was in the Army, so he was gone an awful lot. We really didn't do anything together on Sundays. I just did church with the kids, and you know, sometimes we'd do something like that, but I couldn't understand it. So I shared it with my husband, and he said, why are you thinking about when the kids were little? Shouldn't you be thinking about things that are happening now, because they try to give evidence that they're here, that they're with you. And I was still, okay. And he's staring at me. And he's like looking at me like, come on. And then it hit me. Back in March, Nick Whittam from Banyan Retreat out in the UK started putting their online healing session, or it wasn't online, it's online now. This will be the 10th week. And my husband and I started doing that. We didn't miss a week. And I would say to him, oh my gosh, I feel her. You know, I'm tingling, I feel her. And then we would do Sandra's online gatherings for every single. So I'd feel the same thing. You know, sometimes I'd have the itchy nose, or sometimes I'd get all lit up on my arms. And I think that that's what she's saying, that she's waiting for Sunday for father, father, and mother. I know she's with us.
So I think it's so interesting because obviously nobody knew about these meetings that Lisa and her every Sunday. It was spoken by Tesla on Amber's behalf. This is from Patricia. Also, again, Tesla sends a message on behalf. So I asked that day to Tesla, what about Melissa? Is Melissa around? And Tesla says this message addressed to the mother. When you breathe, I'm here. So let's first listen. Tesla is speaking. We will understand what this means in Patricia's words. Let's listen first. Tesla is speaking. And what about Melissa? Is Melissa around?
When you breath, I'm again. When you breath, I'm again. When you breath, I'm again.
Now let us see what Patricia says.
When you breathe, I am here. That EVP really hits home because I sense her all around me. You know, it's like, I know she's with me. I can just talk to her. between all these EVPs that I've received from her, and I feel her with every breath I take. So the fact that she would relay this message to Mr. Tesla, to let Sonia know, to let me know, I do feel with every breath I take that that girl is with me. She really is a strong spirit. And just a little tip, trust yourself, know they're with you. They want us to heal. And I can't say it any other way, but thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Mr. Tesla. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mr. Tesla. Thank you, Melissa, for these messages. They resonate so much with me.
And here we have Cameron's message also, which is absolutely interesting. Cameron is his son, and Tesla, again, on behalf of Cameron, sent this message here at right. He said, "Getting justice is all." And then I thanked Mr. Tesla, and Tesla finished saying, "Father." So I couldn't understand exactly, getting justice is all, and father. So I sent it to Stefania, and she will also explain it to us. But first, let's listen, getting justice is all, and then, and father.
Getting justice on.
Thank you, Mr. Tesla.
Getting justice on.
Thank you, Mr. Tesla.
Getting justice on.
Thank you, Mr. Tesla.
So this was very weird, but Stefania recorded this video, which is, I think in this case is absolutely special. So let's listen, Stefania.
I was talking to Jennifer Brazier on Thursday. She had I received the recordings of the voices or the voice messages, and I had not. So our conversation was about to end, and I was about to leave my house and go away for several hours. So I begged her, please just tell me a recording from Cameron. And she had said it was one where he was saying he's getting justice is all, getting justice in all. A father or an father. When she was telling me, she said justice, you know, and I freaked out in a good way. I was like, oh my God, Jennifer, not justice, is justice one of his dogs? If that's not validation, what is? You can't be satisfied.
So, and what is interesting, that his father is also in the other side. So he is with just the dog and very unexpected message. And here is in Cameron's own voice. It is a message that I wanted to end our presentation today with it. Just the events. And then I said in the recording, hi, Cameron. So let's listen Cameron saying this.
This is one of the greatest. Hi, Cameron. This is one of the greatest events. This is one of the greatest events. Hi, Cameron.
And I wanted to finish my presentation with this and another page that I will still show. Because I think that, yes, Cameron is correct. I think that maybe one of the greatest events, I think that is the communication with the other worlds, the discovery that life goes on, maybe more important than any other inventors of any time, including the discoveries. Nothing will change the world as these can change, right? So I think that this was a thought that I really agree. This is one of the greatest invents. And really, for finishing, I want to show a sentence from our Nikola Tesla. He predicted it, this thought. The interplanetary communication will, I think that Tesla said this about 100 years ago, and it is absolutely still valid. This sentence is from one of the books about him, and I think that, yes, the moment that we establish a conversation with our neighbors in the universe, either without body consciousness, out of the body, it doesn't matter. All these are our neighbors in our journey. So I think that definitively mankind will change. In truth, we can say that in the last, let's say, 6 years, more or less, 6 to 8 years, things changed completely. And we expected that right now, that means exactly from this year on, things will be accelerated. Why? Because we started the transition moment, the transition time of the planet, and we see this clearly happening, mainly starting with the pandemic. And also, in last November, there happened something very cool indoors right now. I was in November making a live here to Brazil, and from nothing, the other side entered in the communication and left a message very, very clear saying mission and other things. This is in one of our e-magazines. I think it is the series Contact #1, by the way. So when I listened to that message that they got permission, I promptly knew what they meant. They are waiting for the permission of the higher command to be closer and closer to Earth and to accelerate the process of the communication. And I think that finally they got it for some reason. And so I know that this November on, that is this year, I think that all the communication everywhere will be better and better. And I think that they will bring finally all the things that they are able to do that they couldn't do before, but now they are authorized. So yes, indeed, things are bettering, and this is very clear.
Do you think all the satellites into our atmosphere will make communication harder?
Those satellites will make the participate of the communication? Is that it?
Will make the communication harder, more difficult?
Well, yes and no, because if you remember that in the communication in Phoenix, when they realized it and received Dr. Howdev, right? And were there?
Yes.
So if you remember, Dr. Howdev is one of the pioneers of instrumental transcommunication. And in that materialization, he replied, he said, from certain time up to here, the other side, our spirit friends, cannot reach us as they did before because of the fabric of the world. That was precisely the word that he used, the fabric. So we understand that around Earth, there is what he calls a fabric. It is precisely these satellites and all these frequencies and these waves crossing our planet and making something like a fabric that it is making difficult, yes, for them to come through as they started doing some 40 years. That was my question that day in the materialization seance. So yes, this technology of Earth really is spoiling, is disturbing the communication from the other side. But they changed the way they, because apparently before this new technology that Tesla invented, they had to cross this fabric to reach us, right? Somehow they had to, let's say, the communication traveled from our from their space to ours. And this was made impossible because of human technology. So they had to change completely their way of contacting us, and they created the communication through wormhole. So instead of they had to cross the fabric of Earth, they are making through something which we could call virtual reality to the other side. So they, let's say, they created a solution. But yes, in truth, not only, but all satellites around, GPS, signs, everything, yes, would disturb the older technology, but they already solved the problem.
All right. First, I want to say thank you, Sonia, for today's webinar. We all appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
And then I wanted to make a comment. It's hopeful. People that are doing this research need funding, and that's hard to come by. But also, not everybody knows about what we're discussing today. Not everybody has that interest. The good news is, some of us know that there's a contest out. There's a billionaire in Las Vegas, in the United States, and his name is Robert Bigelow, and he has an interest in life after death. And so he has this contest out to give money, like millions of dollars, for whoever would win the contest. And there are categories, I think maybe there are 3 winners, explaining about life after death and such things as communicating. Now, I think the contest ends, or the results come at the end of the year, maybe like in November. So when that happens, it's going to make the news. And then all the people that don't know what we're talking about and don't have an interest, all of a sudden, they're going to know and hear, and it's going to stir up a lot of interest. And I think it's going to help move this forward. And that's what I wanted to say. We could be hopeful for that.
This will help this matter, afterlife, to be known. If for this, he should earn a prize, because, you know, so huge investments in military, in all other areas. And he was the only one who thought, oh, let me invest in afterlife. And it is obviously that this is the one in the world, because one day all of us will die. So it is incredible that he was the only one person that thought of this, and I think he reserved the biggest prize just for the idea.
The question is I have, and I apologize, we joined late, and maybe you've already addressed this question, but Sonia, my question is, if you could quickly describe the technology. Obviously, there's a primary technology for receiving, and there's obviously a technology that does imaging and a technology that also does voice I'm curious if you could quickly describe that, and I apologize, maybe you've already.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is interesting because in these 35 years, I think that I changed it so many times. Nearly, it is very rare that I repeat a way that I record once. In the next week, I record again, and then I add something different, another thing. So if you follow in our magazines, in which I put everything that I do, and I describe everything I'm doing, we will notice how frequent I change. And because see one thing, it's not only our side that has side, it's learning as well. Maybe people may think that they know everything. No, this is not correct because they depend on our technology. They have to adapt themselves to our technology, which is extremely primitive. They have to test. And all people here on Earth, different people will use different devices. Some devices better, some devices worse. So they have to adapt to what they can do, right? So I think that, for instance, lately, we are using recording voices, a device that it was very deeply described in 3 magazines, and the last one, which is number 18, it is a device that we built for the purpose of the communication with voices, and we called these devices Light Bridge. In this device, we make the sound to become light, and then it is the opportunity for them to work over the light, and then it becomes sound again. So we are receiving very clear and clean replies. So this is very new. We published some 10 days ago, more or less. So it's very recent. That is what we are using. But for image, I use vapor and all sort of bubble plastic and fabrics. I think that the best is really to have a look in our in what I have an idea of what I do and what works.
Thank you. That's good.
My pleasure.
Thinking if you have developed any theory that can possibly explain the action of the disincarnated over the water vapor, or the plastic, the bubble plastic, or the equipment that you use.
After these 35 years, we think we suppose we know a little bit they work. Remember that they changed the technology, right? Mm-hmm. And so this new technology is something that it was not, it's not being used yet on Earth, but I saw some images of how they work with us. So yes, I have an idea, and it really, they don't need to send anything. The transmission is not a transmission. This word is not compatible anymore. They don't send anything. They interfere in different. Let's suppose if I have a light here in our space, they will interfere in my light. It is not that they will send something. They don't send. They interfere and change what I offer. How? Through virtual reality. That is how and why they don't have to cross.
Whoever wants to help Sonia's group on proving the death, that is not the end. And in fact, there is a whole life, actually the real life beyond this world. Please join Sonia's group, on Patreon to support her work. And for only $5 a month, for example, You can get 3 magazines that will keep you updated on absolutely everything she does. I do. That's what I do. I signed up on Patreon, and for $5, I get all the magazines. I get all the updates and the tests and along with the results. So you can be updated in pretty much everything she does. So Sonia, thank you so much for your work. It has been amazing, you know, as usual. I mean, I am a big fan of yours, but you know, there is for a reason, a very good reason, as everybody else are here today. So thank you for your work.
Thank you to everyone. Mainly, I saw some friends like Betty Ann, Sherry Pearl, and some other friends that I love with us today. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.